And I am live today, March 31st of the year 2025. And this is Shankar Poncelet. Let's talk about whether the bottom is in or not. Bottom in crypto, that is something that Kryptonians refer to when they want to basically answer the question, do we have a low price point after a long time of decline? And is that low price point an opportunity to buy some Bitcoin or maybe another currency? That is the name of the game for those people who consider themselves long-term swing investors, right? Those are not the traders who make money no matter what every day trading the ups and downs of the market. Those are the long-term investors, the so-called swing traders. And we have some indication that potentially we have caught a bottom and that we are slowly going back up. Nothing is for sure in the world of investing and trading, but there are always indicators we can look at, and that's what we'll do today. I'll also show you what I achieved day trading actually this morning in about, let's say, half an hour. I achieved quite a nice result, so I'll show you that as well. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this stream if you know someone who's curious about the world of crypto and investing. If that sounds good to you, we're going to get started here in just a bit. Yeah, so if you are here with me, put a comment in the chat. I always like reading from you where you're from, and just support me. It makes it easier. Here you see a shareable image. So each time when you trade on these exchanges, you get a shareable image. And you see that I shorted the price of Bitcoin this morning. What does shorting mean? It means that you actually bank on the price going down, which is one of the cool things in trading, is you can make money when the price goes down. And yesterday I was driving with Andrea, and I tried to explain what shorting means. And we came up with an analogy that I'm going to explain to you right now. Imagine in the morning, you go to your neighbor and you ask him or her, can I borrow a liter of milk, or a gallon here in the US? Can I borrow a gallon of milk? I will give it back to you tonight. Your neighbor is, of course, a friendly person and gives you the gallon of milk. And what you do in the morning is you go and sell the gallon of milk for $10 immediately. Then later during the day, you find a place, maybe at Walmart, who knows, where you can buy that same gallon of milk for $5. Okay? So you return to your neighbor at night, who he or she doesn't really know anything about the price of the milk. All they care about is getting their gallon of milk back. You give them the milk back, and what did you do? What did you achieve during that day? You made $5, right? Because you borrowed milk in the morning, sold it immediately for profit, somehow found it cheaper, and returned it at night. And that is what shorting is. That is what I did with Bitcoin. That is why you can make money when the price goes down, because the platform essentially lets you borrow Bitcoin, and then you can give it back when the price is cheaper. If, of course, the price is more expensive, too bad for you. You have to give it back as well, and you lose some money. And this time, I did well. And you can see within half an hour, I shorted Bitcoin and I made 1.8% gain on that trade. How much is that for half an hour, you might ask? Well, I'll help you here with the math. What is, let's do 2%, just we're going to round it up. What is 2% of 100? It's $2, right? What is 2% of 1,000? It's $20, right? So let's assume you have $1,000 to trade with, and you make a 2% gain. Well, that's $20, isn't it? Yes, but do you see how in my image here, it has a 3x behind it? That means I supercharged, if you will, I used leverage, which is also something the platform lets you do. I used leverage to 3x that trade, meaning that $20 is multiplied by 3, so it gives you $60. Okay, so I gave you an example. If you had shorted Bitcoin with only $1,000, which is something you can do, by the way, because you can short with fractions, you could have made, if you had taken the same trade as I did, you could have made $60 in half an hour. Well, if you had more capital to trade with, it could have been more, right? And if you do this multiple times throughout the day, because you can short Bitcoin as often as you want, as long as you know what you're doing, each time you make $60 and your capital is $1,000. Well, that is what a day trader does, and that's what I do to keep my skills sharp. However, this is not where I make my passive income. My passive income in crypto is done in something that is way more interesting, at least from my perspective, and that is liquidity provisioning. And I actually had a masterclass this morning where I showed, we had about 15 people in attendance, and I showed them how to do liquidity provisions. Very, very fascinating. But what we talk about right now is the so-called bottom. Is it in? Are we possibly in a situation where crypto has a local bottom and we can finally see Bitcoin continuing to go up? Actually, before I do that, I want to show you another screenshot I found. So this is just a random screenshot on my Facebook, and you have Kathy Wood here. She is the owner of ARK Invest, so really smart woman. We saw her at the Bitcoin conference in Nashville, and she's basically a great investor. She has a great investor mind, right? And you can see this sponsored post starts with, "Mark my words, anyone who owns these 3 stocks will be a millionaire by the end of 2025. And without opening this post, I didn't click the see more button. I can already tell you that it is very likely robotics and AI. I cannot stress enough how important robotics and AI will be in the future. You have no idea. We just had the example recently where ChatGPT launched this new feature where you can make these anime-looking cartoons of yourself. And it's really just a little gimmick, right, for people to play with. But the entire world went nuts. I don't think I saw a single social media channel that didn't post a picture that day with a picture that was generated by ChatGPT. I actually saw something on X where Sam Altman or one of his engineers said, go easy. Our CPUs are melting, and they had to rate limit that feature actually. And I can tell you, you're probably not surprised that my dear Andrea, she was part of the people who just went nuts, right? But this is just so important. I cannot stress this enough. There are two things that you just must not miss out on. Number one is those AI technologies. You have to absolutely invest in them because they're going to replace so many people. I know it's ugly, but they will. Actually, just this morning, I saw on CNBC an interview with the CEO of AIG. AIG is a insurance company that protects your insurance company. Okay, so it is at the very, very top of insurance companies. They don't work with individuals, they work with other insurance companies. I think it's called back insurance. Anyway, it's one of the most incredibly powerful industries in the world. You have so much money that is made by AIG writing these policies. And as you may imagine, underwriting such a policy is a lot of work. And the CEO was on CNBC today in an exclusive interview with the CEO of Claude, of Anthropic, and he described how they are entirely banking on AI helping them with streamlining that underwriting process, meaning they trust that AI, in this case, the model that powers Claude, i.e. Anthropic, can process all the data that they get when they get a new application for a policy. So this is just absolutely, you and I, we use ChatGPT mostly, if at all. I use it every day, but probably you use it to generate an image or craft an email. I know, something like that, right? But AI is way, way smarter than that. You have absolutely no idea. Maybe you do. Hopefully you do. Because if you do, you know that the way AI will reward itself and other agents it will interact with is through the blockchain and through crypto. We are in the process of building the foundation for that, and you do not want to miss out on that. Which actually leads me into the next segment, which is talking a little bit about stablecoins. Stablecoins, for those of you who do not know what that is, a stablecoin is a digital dollar. And what is nice about it is that it is stable. It is pegged to the US dollar, and that gives people and institutions safety and stability. Sometimes you need that, right? When I trade, I usually trade in a pair that is one side is the coin, Bitcoin or Ethereum or what have you, and on the other side is mostly a stable coin, mostly USDT actually, is the largest stable coin in the world is USDT. But there's also USDC, there's USDE. Even the European Union now sees their stable coin. I think it's called the Euro C. And these stable coins are not to be underestimated because value will always have to also be able to measured, stored, and transferred in a stable way. So that's with stable coins. And if you think about it, so far, the de facto baseline for value transfer was the United States dollar. And that gave the US a lot of power because essentially most of the world countries and big institutions held their reserves in stablecoins. Now, what smart individuals can see, like the managers of big investment firms, President Trump and his government, they can see that there is no stopping the stable coin movement anymore, which is why President Trump and his group of people who are dedicated to establish and embrace crypto, one of the very first things they are doing is giving stable coins a legal framework. That is super important because one thing that cannot happen if you are interested in the American side is that any other currency other than the US dollar would be used as the currency of choice to peg the stable coin against it. So it's going to be very, very interesting, the stablecoin industry, because one thing that we do not want as Kryptonians is that we do not want the government, one single government, to control the stablecoin and the stability of the stablecoin. Because in order to run and guarantee a stablecoin, it's not easy. You need to have a lot of reserves to guarantee that your stablecoin is actually indeed stable and that it is liquid, that you can exchange it freely on a market. So we will have to rely on an ecosystem that preferably is worldwide, a worldwide ecosystem. The entire crypto nation has to contribute to these different stablecoins. And obviously, companies will emerge, blockchains will emerge that will be leaders in those stablecoins. What you need to understand is that it is now that you can embrace that industry of stablecoins. It is now that you can invest in companies that support stablecoin infrastructure. Don't come later and tell me I did not warn you. I'm sitting here, I'm taking my time to explain to you what are the factors that make crypto and ultimately Bitcoin inevitably the most important opportunity in probably your lifetime and your parents' lifetime combined to tap into something what can maybe be called the greatest wealth transfer of all time. Greatest wealth transfer of all time. We are, of course, still some way away from bringing Bitcoin to the same level that maybe gold or silver has, but we are getting there. And you have the very, very unique situation that you are actually see this stream right now, and you can be warned, and you can take small baby steps. So let's get back to the question then of, is the market, does it see a bottom right now or not? Finally, you're thinking that's what he promised us. So at the beginning, let me actually share this screen. So you have, this is the chart of Bitcoin, and before we look at it in more depth, we're going to look at the S&P 500. Because Bitcoin is lagging the S&P 500 a little bit. S&P 500 is the combination of America's 500 top companies. How are they doing? And what you can see is that last Friday or recently, it didn't do very well. Okay, if we zoom in on this, it really took a hit here. I mean, this is a daily time frame, by the way. This was last Friday. This red candle here is a pretty big one, okay? And this was followed after this decline here. We had a small relief rally here, and then we had another leg down. And hopefully this is a bottom, and we can reclaim this orange line here, which I believe is the 100-day moving average. The 200-day is a little bit more impactful on such a time frame. So actually, let me look at those. So it is not good when the S&P 500 spends too much time under that 200-day moving average, because here's why. It means we have a recession, essentially, right? If it spends too much time here. And that can take some time for it to recover. Like this was basically 330 days, almost a year of the recession. Okay, but we're not there yet. Sometimes it just briefly dips on, like here, it briefly dips under the 200 moving average, and then it continues up. Okay, so hopefully what we are seeing right now is this situation here and not this situation. Okay, we have to see. So if we are more like in a situation as this, where it's a brief dip under the 200 moving average, which we still have a realistic chance of that being the case. You look at this here, right? It's a brief dip. Then we could potentially just be taking a breather and continue the way up, okay? So that is S&P 500. And as I told you, it impacts the price of Bitcoin. If this is only a brief dip under the 200, then it is possible that what we're seeing here is a bottom. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more what that means for us. So as you know, people who don't have time to day trade, they try to invest into Bitcoin at the low and sell at the high. Okay? The question, the name of the game is, of course, when is it low? When is it high? Well, the white rectangular areas here are major zones where historically Bitcoin has spent some time. Okay, so we have here a zone around 72,000. Okay, that was before the Trump pump, before the elections. And then we have here a very important level around, let's say, 99,000. And those levels also coincide with the Fibonacci levels, okay? So those are very important in trading, the 786 and the 238 level. So currently, if I bring back those Fibonacci levels to our price graph, you can actually see that grab it out here. You can see that we're also this local bottom here that I hope is actually a bottom. This happens to also be at the 382 Fibonacci. Okay. So all of that to say, I'm going to bring this Fibonacci indicator out of the way again. All of this to say that we have a chance at this being a bottom, and we could actually see this happening now, where we revisit and build some good support level here. Okay, and then this is, if you want to play it safe, you jump in either here after Bitcoin regains this level. Why? Because we have price history here. Anything in here is what's called no man's land. We don't really know how Bitcoin behaves here, right? We don't have a lot of price history. So you either wait until it regains support here, Or what would be really nice in a way is if it dipped down to this level and you could really, it would probably only spend here very shortly and then it would go back up, right? So either this one, case one here, or case two, that's what most of you should wait for. But of course, you never know in crypto and in investing. This could, maybe this won't happen, right? A lot of people are talking about this being the bottom. So we'll have to see. This red curve here is the 50-day, the 21-day moving average. So we have to see if we spend some more time here, maybe even reclaim the 21-day moving average. That could be a sign that we're turning this ship around and we're going in for the final leg of the bull run, which some experts say could be anywhere between 115,000 to some say 200,000. Okay. So I'm going to observe this a little bit longer. This is an accumulation phase here. We call this accumulation phase. I'm going to observe this a little bit longer and then load my Bitcoin bag again. Kyle here says, right, this was a tweet that he posted today. US entities buying Bitcoin has historically lined up with price gains while selling has matched declines. That makes sense. Right now, their holdings are shifting. If accumulation picks up, could we see another leg up? Something to keep an eye on. Okay, so this graph here tracks US companies buying Bitcoin. And you've seen in the news, there's plenty of, I think, what was it? GameStop announced that they would put Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Michael Saylor is, of course, always busy buying Bitcoin. So this was the reserves in Bitcoin going down here between February and March. And now we have broken this downtrend. It's accumulating. So that is a positive sign. That could mean that we are actually seeing a reverse of that trend. The other indication is here. This is the daily exchange volume, meaning how much new money goes into crypto every day. Okay? So if we zoom in on that, please see if I can show you that. Yeah, we zoom in on that, you can see that was a declining trend, which is not good at all. But here we definitely have, remember when I say that there's price history, that always means these are important bottoms. I mean, we can't really go much further down here on this chart. And also we see a slight uptick here recently. Okay, we're breaking the downtrend. And that is also an indication that hopefully, I'm I'm realizing you can't see my my scribbles. Let me share, and then you can see it. My apologies. Okay, here we go. So this is the red is what was the long-term price history. We're basically at rock bottom here. And here you see the declining trend, which is easing up. And we've even seen a little bit of an up here. Okay. So this gives hope, because this means new money is flowing into crypto. And we need new money in crypto to make a Bitcoin grow again. That's very important. Similarly, speaking of investing, if you look at Bitcoin, it has maybe a local bottom here. Another coin that's fairly interesting to look at is Solana. And here's why. I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see on this chart that this goes back to last year, December of last year here in this area. So we've had support here, 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 and we're here again. Okay. So what do you think if Bitcoin does get a relief? If the exchange volume grows again, if the stock market comes back up above the 200 moving average, what do you think Solana might do? Quite possibly something like this. And that is a big, big move. Might be a bigger investment than Bitcoin, honestly, or a better investment. But I would split it up. Okay, I probably very soon will start, if I see that this positive trend continues and I have reasons to believe that the downtrend is over, I'll have to split my Bitcoin, my stable coin that I'm in right now. I'm pretty much, except for my day trading and my liquidity provisions, I'm 100% in cash. And I would probably rotate those back into definitely Bitcoin and Solana. So this is what you think, like, as an investor. It was a very investor-like show so far. What does a day trader do? Well, look at it here. This is a daily time frame. Okay, a day trader dials this down to an hourly time frame, and then takes the magnifying glass and goes and looks at only the last few days. Okay, and then analyzes, where do I see price history? Well, then they take a rectangle tool here, and then they kind of draw a rectangle. Whoa, why did all my scribbling come back? Rid of that. Okay. So they draw a rectangle here where they see, they identify some price history. And then the day trader has a theory that he's either bearish or bullish. If he's bearish, then he thinks that overall the market will continue to go down. If he's bullish, he thinks that the market will go back up again. Right now, I'm tentatively bullish. I'm tentatively bullish, especially since, again, look at this red curve here, which should be the 21-day moving average. It is flattening out, and what we could see is this. Okay, so a day trader looks at, well, at what point on the hourly chart do we break the current structure? So if you know anything about downtrends, you know that when you have a high, a low, and then a lower high and even a lower low, that is bearish. But the moment this changes, where you have all of a sudden, you have a low, a high, a higher low, an almost equal high, a higher low, and then a higher high, and then this is an almost equal low. This is a sign of the tides reversing, right? So what you do as a day trader, you look at the last clearly higher high, which you could argue, if you are very aggressive, is here. If you are very risk friendly, is here. If you want to be a little bit safer, it's this one, right? So the moment price turns around and gets above this price, this higher high here, that would be where you would place you would place a trade. And what does that look like? Well, something like this. You would take a horizontal line and you would place it at this level, like so. And then you would take this long tool here and you would place it on here. And then you would zoom out a little bit. And then you would say, if price goes above this level, I'm pretty confident it will go up until the next point of interest. Okay, the next point of interest, in order to know what that is, you probably have to zoom out a little bit. So let's do that. Let me zoom out a little bit. Where's my negative? So yeah, I'd definitely say here. This is the next. Can you see that there's price history here? Right. So here. And there's definitely also going to be some resistance here. Okay, my chart is acting up a little bit. Okay, like so. So you mark your levels and then you go look at the detail again. And then you make your thesis. You say, okay, what? Everything disappears. Okay. Say, okay, when price goes above this, I think that I'm willing to risk it going falling. If it falls down even lower than this area here, I probably have invalidated my thesis. Okay. Well, how do I determine this level? Well, I look at previous, it's always the same story, really. You look at previous price behavior. Previous price behavior. So, like here. Okay. So if it falls lower than this, we probably have invalidated the up move. But if not, then I think we should be fine at least until here. Possibly here. So you need to, if you are very conservative, you're going to set it here. But then you need to make your stop loss much tighter so that you get at least a 1 to 2 risk reward. Okay, so this would be a trade. Now, if you have more time and you want to be not quite as risky, you can give everything a little bit more breathing space. And then this would be a trade. Okay, it's still almost a 1 to 2 risk reward ratio. Assuming that we are in an uptrend again. Yes, so I think that was a lot of information here, and it was presented in a way where there was a lot of like kind of macro economy information, but also we dove into charts, looked at what kind of behavior would you have as an investor, and what kind of behavior would you look for as a day trader. And all of this, of course, takes a lot of practice, it takes a lot of learning, and most importantly, a community as well. And that is what I'm offering you. The start of this can be behind this landing page, crypto.lifestyle, where you can join my mailing list. As a thank you, you will be given a beginner friendly video that shows you how to dollar cost average into Bitcoin and why that may be a good time and a good idea. Baru says thank you. Thank you for your time spending with me here, Baru. Thank you so much. You're very welcome. Any other questions or comments, concerns, put them in the chat right now, because I have a upcoming meeting with my team here in a minute or two. But I definitely see if there's any questions, comments, concerns, put them in the chat. If not, please join my mailing list, and you can start your journey in crypto. I am different than most people in crypto because I am a little bit more well-rounded, I would say. I don't just focus on only trading. I also like specifically DeFi, passive investments, liquidity provisions, and try to also have a long-term vision, not only a short-term vision, which is very important. With that, thank you for your time, and I'll see you again on this channel very, very soon. You have a great evening, morning, whatever the case is for you. Bye-bye for now.